Goedemiddag aan al onze kijkers. Het is weer tijd voor een interview met key opinion leaders uit de industrie. Vandaag hebben we een speciale gast, Mikel Ayala, Growth Europe, Bekijk. Hello Mikel, how are you doing?
Hello, Raul. Doing great. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Let's dive into it straight away then. So first of all, I want to start with, can you briefly maybe introduce yourself and tell us how your crypto journey began and, what led you to join Bekijk?
Okay, so very briefly, I'm basically, originally trained as an engineer, although for the last 15 years or so, I've been working in finance. So kind of crypto came as very naturally as kind of the intersection of technology and financial markets. I think that if you are interested in both finance and technology, crypto is the place to be. So yeah, for the last, I started working on traditional finance for global financial institutions, then moved into fintech startups, and very naturally, the opportunity to join a crypto came back in 2020, and I've been full time there ever since.
Oh, lovely. And what is it exactly that stood out to you about Bekijk? Or what made you want to join them?
I mean, it's a bunch of things. It's a very unique project. I think when you have this critical mass of very talented people, very hardworking people, working on solving some of the toughest problems of the industry, and you see that energy, and you see the community that is supporting the project from the very, very beginning. It's just kind of a very, very obvious thing to do. No, I think that best professional decisions that you can make is just to follow that talent and that energy, and Bekijk is just full of that.
I see. And for those who are unfamiliar with Bekijk, how would you describe it? What would you explain, or how would you tell people what it is?
So, I mean, in a way, Bekijk is, or we see Bekijk as the financial institution of the future. That would be kind of the very, very brief summary of what we are trying to build. Going into the detail is basically just three things. Now, so on the one side is Bekijk Exchange, a fully compliant centralized exchange, Bekijk Wallet, non-custodial multi-chain Web3 app and wallet, and also Madlats, which is as of today the top NFT community in Solana, and depending on market prices, top 5 community globally.
Okay, yes. Yeah, Madlats is definitely one of the more known Solana NFTs for sure, and it has been for quite some time. And so now that we know more about what Bekijk is and how the pieces kind of fit together in the ecosystem, how it's glued, I want to zoom in and think behind the thinking about it, especially the idea of blending self-custody with centralized security. Because I saw recently a post from Armani saying that centralized exchanges are the safest path to self-custody. And to some, this may sound slightly contradictory or not, So can you explain what is meant by that?
Yeah, so I mean, just maybe taking a step back, the thinking behind Bekijk is, there's a reality or two realities. One is, if you look at blockchain technology, crypto technology, I think it's obvious that it's a better alternative to traditional infrastructure of traditional financial markets. And basically the internet of value will become the, let's say, value transfer layer of society in the medium to long term. Now, and I think that's one obvious thing. The other obvious thing as well is that as of today, wealth in the world is not on chain. If you look at wealth in the world and where it is stored and how it is transferred, a very small fraction of that is on chain, is in blockchain platforms. Now, so basically the way we see Bekijk is as this conduit where basically you're able to facilitate the onboarding of wealth from traditional financial system into this native value layer of the internet, or this crypto layer, or put it very simply, just on chain. Now, so that's why we are working so hard on the regulated part, because eventually that is what enables you to provide the on-ramps and off-ramps and these interfaces between traditional financial world and the on-chain economy. And that's why we also very seriously think about custody and self-custody as one of the key innovations and key attributes of the on-chain economy. Now, so that's why we are working on a wallet. That's why we are working on an exchange, and most importantly, we're working on the intersection of those. Now, going to your question around what Armani said is basically it comes from this realization of there is this stat which is wild, like depending on the source, but between 3-4 billions are lost each year to self-custody. So I think self-custody is extremely important. Is one of the fundamental rights of humans, and it's definitely something that makes the industry better as a whole. But we cannot say just things like not your keys, not your coins, and have people lose billions of dollars to self-custody. Like you forget your seed phrase, you basically lose your hardware wallet. Like there are a bunch of things that happen and that make people basically lose access to their assets now. And basically what Armani said is that there is a way, and we think that there is a way in which centralized institutions like ourselves can be able to can provide self-custody solutions to users that in many ways look and feel and are as easy to use as centralized custody solutions, that with all the benefits and all the let's say right preservations that self-custody provides. That's kind of one area of focus of us as a team. We're working very hard to solve like some really tough problems there, and eventually that's what we want to prove, that there is a better way to do self-custody, and that centralized institutions and companies like ours can definitely contribute to that.
See, I mean, definitely with the self-custody wallets, it's been. I mean, myself has experienced losing money with them as well,
Yeah.
forgetting a password. So I understand that there has to be like a bridge or to bridge the gap a bit. So for my understanding, Backpack is essentially trying to merge like centralized infrastructure with some self-custody principles in it. Like would Backpack Exchange be the centralized part of it, and Backpack the wallet would be kind of the self-custodial aspect of it?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay.
Anyone that has been long enough in this industry has at some point messed up something with their self-custodial wallets. That's a reality, and I think as an industry we cannot feel a sense of mission accomplished until that has been solved.
Yeah, ignoring it would be a big mistake. I think it's important to educate everyone, especially if you want to on-ramp new retail investors and people, then I think it's a very important part of it, because I think that's where most people lose money and lose hope and think that everything in crypto is just a scam, or this doesn't work like that and that doesn't work. So yeah, exactly. I think it's a good way to like merging CeFi, I guess, and self-custody.
Exactly, and not put like, let's say, all the responsibility on the users themselves and tell them, okay, you have to educate yourself. I think we have to do this job of just building products that are easier to use. No.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, this leads me on to the next part, which is, merging CeFi and self-custody is one thing, and doing that in Europe is another. Obviously, with all the regulatory challenges that there are, and Europe, I guess, being slightly, would say, behind compared to, Southeast Asia, maybe places like Dubai or even the US now slowly. What's your take on the regulatory challenges and opportunities across the region in Europe?
Okay, so I mean, just taking a step back also, I mean, we have this approach where basically we are fully compliant and basically comply with all the relevant regulations in all the jurisdictions in which we operate. Now, that is why like the exchange is not live yet in Europe, although we have been working very, very hard on getting that live for nearly a year now. Basically, the way we see it, and it is related to the point I mentioned before around most of the wealth being on chain. Reality is that most of the wealth is in regulated environments. Eventually, people want to just do things like as basic as not go to jail. Like they want to comply with the regulations and the laws of the jurisdictions in which they live and they operate. Now, so we think that like this industry will not grow and will not have a major impact in the world unless it is able to interact with the regulated financial institutions. And for us, that is the reason why we are getting ourselves regulated. Like I think no one builds a regulated business for the sake of building a regulated business. We are doing that because we think that is extremely important to be able to serve customers worldwide, to serve institutional investors worldwide, to be able to on-ramp and off-ramp wealth at a scale from the traditional financial market to the on-chain economy. In Europe specifically, I think we are extremely positive. The good thing about Europe is that it has made very, very relevant progress towards having a single comprehensive regulation for the whole region, which is great because it basically simplifies on the one side, let's say the work of us as companies. It also provides, let's say, warranties to customers that are the same across the whole region. And I think the progress that has been made in terms of providing clarity and a comprehensive framework in Europe is extremely positive. No, and we are seeing every major player in the world trying to push hard to enter the market because they feel that, let's say, security, that certainty that the current regulatory framework is providing.
Yeah, I see. No, I mean, and I guess regulation is definitely an important one, but it's I guess in Europe it's been a bit more of a tough and slow like grind, tough challenge and slow grind, but nonetheless very important.
Eventually, like the thing that has to be understood is like, I mean, you have a certain regulatory framework. That regulatory framework basically accounts for a certain reality. And with new technology, what happens is that that reality changes. So basically, your previous framework just does not fit the current reality. And there is obviously always this adaptation process where everyone in the industry, both the builders and entrepreneurs and the regulators and all the stakeholders have to understand what this new technology is about, what certain things mean, what are the potential risks, what are the potential opportunities, and basically address those. Now, so obviously, creating those regulatory frameworks takes some time, but I think in general, Europe has been like one of the fastest at being able to provide a specific framework for digital assets, which is great.
Oh, okay, and I see that the Bekijk exchange is clearly gaining traction, even though not active in Europe. I'm assuming, is it active worldwide, other than Europe?
Yeah, I mean, as of today, we are regulated in multiple jurisdictions worldwide. We launched the exchange, let's say, officially and out of beta in those jurisdictions in which we operate a little bit more than around 2-3 months ago, and we are super excited by the traction and the support. No, I think at the same time that we launched the exchange, we launched our point system. Basically, I think this was one of the most restricted launches of a point system in the history of crypto, because as a regulated institution, eventually we are not able to onboard users from a lot of jurisdictions. And even with all those constraints, the activity, the volumes, the open interest, the assets in the platform have grown exponentially, and we are super excited and working super hard to basically bring new regions to the product and also keep on improving the product.
And when you're talking about the point system, you're talking about like the first season of the Backpack Exchange, where
Exactly.
over 36 billion in trading volume, etc. Which I have a question about. That is, what was the growth engine for that? Do you think was it a specific region or a specific trading pair or something that made it such? Because 36 billion in trading volume is a lot.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest thing about the project is like its ability to basically gather the interest of a lot of traders worldwide. So organically, a lot of people got excited about Backpack, got excited about what we are building, got excited about season 1. And they just wanted to participate in that and share with their friends and colleagues that they wanted to participate. So I think that's the most amazing thing. No, like eventually you cannot fake product market fit. Like you could incentivize users, or you could spend millions of dollars, billions of dollars in marketing campaigns and do that type of thing. One of the coolest things about Backpack is that without that marketing investment, just organically with the support of the community, with the support of Mad Labs, with support of small and big traders in different regions, that just were excited about the product, were excited about how easy it was to use, how easy it was to trade, how capital efficient it was, how attractive the yields were. Like all of those factors that eventually build a product are what are driving people to the platform now, which is basically what I think what excites us more now.
So in the end, it's a combination of all these things, from early people who are already early invested in Mad Lads, which already builds a huge community around it. You already had the self-custodial wallet as well, so you've been building a community for a while. Let's put it that way. So it makes sense that there's a lot of people attracted towards it. I also wanted to ask, there's a season 2 happening. Is this the same as season 1 in terms of incentives or product changes on the way, or how does season 2 work?
I think the only thing that we know right now is that there will be a season 2, and that has already been announced. And the goal for that season 2 is that more regions are enabled, more product features are enabled, and that means more pairs, more trading pairs, more features, and so on. And that's what we are working on. Regarding the specific mechanics, still TBD.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say one of the product features I think that you just added, I saw today, was the convert dust to USD. I saw Armani post something about that, and I thought that was something very, very interesting. That I've always wondered why people don't do that, because the amount of dust I have sitting in wallets, I think how can I not just convert all of this into just USD directly?
Eventually, that's obviously an issue. No, when you have multiple assets, not only multiple assets, but multiple assets on multiple chains. Eventually, dust can add up to a very significant amount of money. And just trying to make it as simple as possible is what we do now, and helping users convert that to USD is something. Also, helping users basically move seamlessly from the different forms of USD. Like no matter whether you have USD fiat or stable coins, it should be from a user perspective basically the same. So you should be able to deposit, withdraw, use that as collateral, trade on that, and that's something that we've been working on now. So convert dust to USD. Basically set up a basket where every USD is treated the same and can be used as collateral. Being able also to provide yield on that. So those are all the things that we've been working on.
Yeah, I thought it was just a funny thing that I saw this morning, and I was like, oh wow, that's very interesting. The timing of that. I do love the convert dust to USD feature. I thought that's pretty good. And I think finally, I just have one more question: is what does success look like for Backpack for the next 12 months? I know it's a very broad question, but what are you personally focused on achieving? Is it being able to launch in Europe already in the next 12 months? Obviously, you can't say so much about it and you can't predict the future.
I mean, that is obviously launching in Europe is a goal. In terms of success, I think we do not focus too much on, let's say, the macro dimension of that. We are super obsessed on each individual user, each individual customer, each individual trader, both retail and institutions, and making sure that like the experience for each of those is just the best. And whenever they are onboarding to the product, they have a great experience. Whenever they are using the product, they're having a great experience. Whenever they deposit, withdraw, like that's what we focus on. So the way I think about success is just making sure that as many people as possible are onboarded into the platform and are enjoying it and are excited about using the product. Now, like for me, success is eventually adding up all those individual users that we like really care about.
So it's really about like, I guess it's the most important is the user experience and adoption as well. And I guess that's how you can measure it. More people using your platform is a good way to see successful.
People engaging with us, people happy using the product, people also like providing feedback to help us improve. And yeah, that's what we obsess about.
And one final question I have: the backpack that you have in the back, is it ever going to be released as merchandise for backpack or not?
We do have that's funny. We some people think that we are a fashion company because it's amazing like what the traction of the merch looks like whenever we launch new swag, new merch, people get crazy about that. And yeah, I mean actually we do have an e-commerce where people can buy the merch. The reality is that it gets sold out very, 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 very soon. But yeah, we definitely are making sure that anyone that wants to have our merch in Europe and anywhere in the world can have access to that. So feel free to write us over Twitter or over LinkedIn or whatever if you are interested in that as well.
Definitely, I thought it was a very cute addition to the interview as well, having the bag over there. So, and I really liked it. I thought it was it's exactly your logo, So I thought it's nice to have some merch as well. And I think that's it for me. I have no further questions. Thank you very much for your time, Mikel. I really enjoyed the chat, and I hope to speak to you soon.
Thanks to you, Raul. Thanks for having me, and yeah. Happy to help in any way we can.
No worries. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day, Mikel.
Thanks a lot. Bye, everyone.